Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Bobcat Corner Live. This is going to be the last Bobcat Corner Live for this regular season, barring, of course, the bowl game, and if we make it there, the MAC championship game next week. We'll see about that. But anyway, to recap this one, the initial headline that I give you guys is that, yeah, we got our win. 8-4, uh, exactly the number that I predicted, 8-4 finish. So there we go with that. But yeah, this game pretty interesting to watch between the visiting Ohio Bobcats and the home team Buffalo Bulls. Um, it was a good enough way to go out for this regular season. Good enough. There were times where it got very shaky. It got very exciting and more exciting than it needed to be. Let's just say that. But anyway, guys, just pull up a seat. Like I said, I invited you guys to sit down here and just listen to me rant and ramble on what's going on here with the Ohio Bobcats and also the Mid American Conference by extension. I'll save that for much later. But anyway, let's just get to this game here between Ohio and Buffalo. Let's start there. First quarter, let's just get to the scoring here. First quarter, it was like a back and forth kind of thing because the weather was an issue again, just like it was the last couple weeks for the Ohio Bobcats. Traveling up to Buffalo, New York this time, you know how it gets up there in upstate New York when it comes to weather in November and December, especially those times. No different here. There was snow on the ground. You could see it when you were watching this game. It was like little bits and pieces of flurries here and there, snowing, and the wind was definitely a factor. 34 degrees and winds from 20 to 25 miles per hour reportedly. So I could definitely see that, and I can believe that. So anyway, first quarter, it was trading back and forth like drives between Ohio and Buffalo, slow going because of the weather, like I just said. Uh, and of course, when we were driving early, there was a fumble with 13 minutes, 44 seconds to go in the first quarter. It was like a bad handoff there from Parker Navarro, trying to give it to C.A. Bingura. It was like a 3rd-and-1 play. It was like one of those RPO, read option kind of plays where it didn't go well. So of course Buffalo recovered that. Okay. But then later on, when Buffalo was trying to drive on offense, they got into a 4th and 2 situation, 4th down, 2 yards to go situation early. They're in this spot past midfield, trying to get to field goal range, and they felt like they had to go for it, but they did not convert on that. They were stopped, turnover on downs for that. So okay, no harm done. We got the ball back. So eventually, we finally did score in the first quarter. It was a play action pass from Parker Navarro to Mason Williams. Good, reliable tight end, Mason Williams. He had 11-yard touchdown reception with 8 minutes, 2 seconds to go in the first quarter. That made it 7-0 Ohio. Okay. So far, so good. But then later on in the second quarter, this is where things started to get a little bit shaky, as I described earlier. Um, Mainly because of Parker Navarro. He's been having his struggles lately. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Parker Navarro has been having his struggles lately as a quarterback. When he's on the run, he's just fine. We know what he can do as a runner. It's been talked about all the time about him as a runner, but as a passer, because he's supposed to be a quarterback, he's had issues. I'm just being honest. He's had issues. He's had struggles, and to highlight that for you guys, he threw an interception in the second quarter with 12 minutes 55 seconds to go. He was trying to do a shovel pass. When Parker gets in trouble, when he gets hurried by other defensive linemen or linebackers, he tries to make a play. He tries to get on the run. Sometimes he'll want to scramble for a run. Other times he'll want to make people miss and then throw a pass over them. In this case, he was trying to flick it with a shovel pass. You know what he does. But the problem was he was trying to get to Mason Williams on that shovel pass, but Mason Williams was nowhere near that spot of catching it. And that was a clear-cut example of Parker Navarro trying to do too much. And so, yeah, that was very much unfortunate there. And so, unfortunately, right after that, with 12 minutes, 16 seconds to go in the second quarter, Buffalo made us pay for that. They tied up the game at 7 apiece. Daquan Roberson, their quarterback, he passed the ball to Chance Morrow for a 10-yard touchdown pass, uh, made it 7-all. So, okay, it's going to be that kind of game. When I was seeing this play out early on, I was like, yeah, it's going to be that kind of game where we trade score for score. Could be that kind of game. But then an interesting thing happened later on where we were driving again and we got to that spot just like Buffalo did on their offensive drive much earlier. We got to a spot where we got past midfield and we were trying to get closer to field goal range. I know field goal range, but we had to make a decision. 4th down and 2 yards to go. Things were kind of, you know, getting out of control a little bit when it comes to pace and momentum. And I like when we called this. It was a fake punt play where it looked like we are going to punt the ball, but we didn't. Instead, the snap was redirected to tight end number 2, Jake Bruno, and he took off and run with it. That was the thing of beauty. He just ran down the field 48 yards. Shout out to Jake Bruno. Dude, you knew what to do there. Great job there by Jake Bruno. So that kept our drive going. And then not long after that, with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter, we punched it into the end zone with a 1-yard touchdown run by C.A. Bangura. Made it 14-7 Bobcats. Okay, we're back on top. Good. So another good thing that I saw here early in this game, and this happened here in the second quarter, was Chase Hendricks. I told you guys the last couple of weeks the passing game for the Bobcats had gotten ice cold lately. But here we started to see Chase Hendricks finally reemerge again, as he had been doing early on in the season. He is our number 1 wide receiver for a reason. Chase Hendricks, 15-yard touchdown reception with 3 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the second quarter. That increased our lead to 21-7. Okay, all is well right there. So got my notes here. Give me a minute because I'm reviewing them. Oh yeah, there's a part where Jay Crable for the defense for the Bobcats got a good sack. That was a key play there. And then we got the ball back later on, right before halftime. We were trying to drive. And of course, we fumbled the football again. And that was recovered by Deion Crawford of Buffalo. So that was unfortunate. We were driving fairly deep into Buffalo territory. That's when it happened. So it's like, I wish that did not happen. But what can you say? It's sometimes stuff like that is going to happen when you just fumble the football at the most unexpected time. But anyway, so we're up 21-7. It's not too bad right now. We're up by 14 points, doing good. So we go to the third quarter. Buffalo got the ball to start the second half, and they immediately drove down the field. And unfortunately, their running back, Al-J. Henderson, he took to the house, 23-yard touchdown run to make it 21-13. And the reason why I say 21-13 is that Buffalo went for it. They went for a 2-point conversion. And I've seen this a few times earlier this season. And honestly, I don't know why some of these teams, when they play the Bobcats, I have no idea why they do this to us specifically. That they try to go for a 2-point conversion when all you need to do is just kick the extra point. I don't know what Buffalo is thinking about that, but they try to do it, but they fail. 21-13. Okay, we're up by 8. So later on, 8 minutes, 25 seconds to go in the third quarter, Parker Navarro manages to get a 6-yard touchdown run, scrambles a little bit, increases our lead to 15 points, 28-13. Okay, doing good there. And then late in the third quarter, this is where we try to drive again, try to score some more points. We're trying to keep it going. We're trying to get a first down. We're not able to convert it, so we had to send our field goal kicking unit out there. It's been an issue all year. Do I need to keep saying more about that, the field goal kicking unit? David Dellenbach, he got the call to kick field goals and extra points this time around, and he missed it. But I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis on that because, like I said, to start this, it was windy, 20, 25 miles per hour winds. I'm not going to put this on Dellenbach. Yes, he missed it, but I'm not going to put it on him. So right after that, though, this is where the Bobcats on defense, they have to do a better job of knowing the pace of the game and the momentum shifting kind of ability of this game. So when your field goal kicker misses a field goal attempt like that, don't get down on yourselves. But this is where Buffalo struck quickly. Victor Snow, Buffalo wide receiver, he had a 58-yard reception like shortly after that missed field goal kick, and I was like, "Crap." This is the kind of stuff that I've seen throughout the season where it's like the Bobcats miss a field goal or something like that, and then right after the opponent just something big like a 58-yard reception. Stuff like that's got to really stop because you can't link them together like that. I digress. Anyway, we go into the fourth quarter. So Buffalo is still driving, trying to get momentum back. And so Daquan Roberson again, play action pass, uh, just gets it. Play action pass, actually a run, 5-yard touchdown run, makes it 28-19. And then, of course, again, because they screwed up on the previous 2-point conversion, they try to convert, another 2-point conversion. But again, they failed. They could not convert on that. So it was a 9-point game, 28-19. And sometimes maybe you're going through analytics, maybe you're going through, what the sheet says. It's like, oh, maybe you should go for 2 here. Maybe Buffalo was processing it that way. I don't know. But I was like, why are you doing this? I mean, no matter because it didn't hurt us. But 28-19 Bobcats up by 9 points. And then later on, 7 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, Kendall Bannister of the Bobcats, defensive back, he got a key interception. Uh, Roberson was not having a good awareness with this pass, as I saw in the replay. Bannister picked it off easily. So right after that, though, it was like a 15-yard penalty that pushed us back because of unsportsmanlike conduct again. But whatever. We got the ball back, and then we drove down the field again with a good, steady balance of run and pass, which I like to see. Um, so we sent the field goal kicking unit out there again. And I'm like, okay, you better get this one because the game is getting tight within 9 points, 2-score game, but it's getting tight. I'm hoping you guys get one. And they did. But if you guys watch the replay on that field goal kick where David Dallenbach, he got this one, he made it. But it was like one of the funniest wind-blown angles that you'll ever see on a field goal kick. It was like, I don't know if I'm drawing it up this way, you'll probably see it differently, but it's like it goes like this. When he kicks the football, it's like this, and then it does the turn like whoop, and then he kicks it through the upright that way. I was like, I got to laugh out of that one. It was like, well, something went right for us with a field goal kicking unit, even if we have to have a 20, 25 miles per hour wind. I'll take it. But anyway, 31-19 at that point. But our defense was kind of uh, sitting back a little bit at this point because Buffalo was trying to charge again on offense. They got a big play from Josiah Gathings, 29-yard touchdown reception. That made it 31-26. They didn't bother doing a 2-point conversion this time. They just kicked the extra point, which they probably should have done all along. But 31-26 with 3 minutes 47 seconds to go in the game, the fourth quarter. So looking at that, I was like, if we just hang on to the football long enough, if we just run out the clock as much as we can and force Buffalo to use the rest of their timeouts, we're going to be okay. And we try to do that. I mean, I could see that we were trying to do that. Had to kick the ball back to them with a punt. It was like under a minute to go. It was like standing on pins and needles, basically, with that. Like walk on eggshells, however you want to say it. But it's like we got 20 seconds to go. Just please, just knock the ball down. Do whatever you got to do, guys. So wait, we got a comment here. Let's the comment here. Thanks, Steven. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Yes, I did. Thank you, Camaro Commando. Okay. So that is the final score here. 31-26, Ohio over Buffalo. So there you go with that. Um, yeah, uh, definitely more exciting than it needed to be, but ultimately we ended up getting the game. We finished 8-4. Happy about that. All is well that ends well. We got the Bobcat flag going up there. Good thing. So let's just go through the stats, and I got some of them up right here. Parker Navarro, 10 of 23 for 147 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, and then running the football, 18 rushing attempts for 134 yards and 1 touchdown. So overall, fairly good, pretty good game from Parker Navarro. However, and I'm going to really put emphasis on this, however, there were times where Parker Navarro was trying to do too much. There were times where he was trying to force plays that should not have been made, such as that shovel pass early on in the game where, again, Mason Williams was nowhere near that spot where Parker Navarro was, you know, throwing it at. Certain things like that that you have to have a little bit more awareness of. So certain things that Parker Navarro has got to clean up here. He's got to clean it up if he's going to take that next step as a certified pocket passer kind of quarterback. We know what he can do on the run, but he's got to do better with the pass. That's all there is to it. So certain things overall, like you see here with the stats, it's a pretty good, fairly good game. But there are things where Parker Navarro does indeed need to work on. He still does at this point. So really, just he needs to keep hitting the film room. He needs to keep studying what's going on, what it is that he's doing, a not so good job of, so he can do better on. Stuff like that. He just needs to study a little bit more in the film room. But stats like that, you can't argue with that. Good job, good enough, did enough to win. I said leading up to this on Bobcat Corner episode number 72 that Navarro needed to hit at least 100 yards passing, and he did that, 147 yards. So mission accomplished there. And running the ball, great job, 134 yards running. Excuse me. And when we're talking about running, I have to mention this guy, C.A. Bingura. What can you say about him? He's going to go down as one of the best players in Ohio Bobcats football history. I'm so glad he came back to Ohio after spending a season in Minnesota where he didn't get to do anything. But coming back here to Ohio, he's done more than enough. He's really basically worked his butt off to do what he's doing now. In this game against Buffalo, he went out on a good note, regular season wise. 22 rushing attempts for 120 yards, 1 touchdown. You could see it whenever C.A. Bingura got the ball to run it. You can see that he was putting in the hard work. He was really trying everything he could to will his team forward. He was pushing piles. He was pushing in the trenches, all the piles of defensive linemen trying to gang up on him. He was just like pushing his way forward. He was like just putting in the work, trying to get those tough yards. Like when it's like third and short, he was trying to get those, short yardage gains, and he did. So again, I'm so grateful for C.A. Miguro to come back to Ohio and to put in the work that he did put in the previous few years. So yeah, good stuff from C.A. Bingura. This is why the Bobcats still have a chance. Is because of the running game, mainly because of C.A. Bingura, and to a lesser degree, running back number 2, Duncan Broom. 12 rushing attempts for 69 yards for Duncan Broom. When you have interchangeable running backs like that can complement each other, you have a good running back system. So good things to say about C.A. Bingura. What a way for him to go out after this year. So we'll see if we got another game or two with this rushing attack. Now, I want to get to certain descriptions of what I saw in this game, in my opinion, just my takes from it. Albeit shaky, we did good enough. Now, what I mean by that is, yeah, we were shaky. There were times where we were definitely shaky. We had issues with ball security. Uh, Sometimes we were not converting on certain plays, such as third and short, some plays. But albeit shaky, there were times where we were able to figure out things just in time before it got too late. And then that's when we did good enough, if that makes any sense. So if you rewatch that game between Ohio and Buffalo, you would know what I'm talking about. There were times where we looked shaky, where we looked kind of off, but then we righted ourselves. It was like a back and forth kind of thing there. That's what I got from that overall from both offense and defense. So let's get to the next one. Play calling. I do have a little bit more to talk about this. Play calling was 50-50 okay-ish. And how I would describe this would be that there were certain play calls that I really did like, such as that 4th and 2 fake punt to Jake Bruno for him to run it 48 yards. That was wonderful. You know, certain play calls that were very creative, that were brilliant. But then other play calls on offense I'm talking about, other play calls on offense where I was scratching my head thinking, okay, why did we decide to do that? There were certain plays where I thought that it was like, okay, just give it to C.A. Bangura, give it to Duncan Broom, let them get the 3-4 yards so that we can get the first down. But then we elect to have Parker Navarro pass it, try to pass it deeper 20, 30 yards. I'm like, you know, in light of what we've been talking about with Parker's struggles passing the football lately, it's like, do you really want to keep pushing that? You really want to keep forcing that issue? So certain things, like I said, 50-50 okay-ish. Some really good plays that were called and some not so good plays that were called 50-50. So not all bad, not all good, just it is what it is, 50-50. So I'm going to get to the bottom line here. I'm just going to have to get to the bottom line here. So before I do that, glad I remembered. Chase Hendricks, for the record, 5 receptions for 92 yards, 1 touchdown. He got back on track for this game for the most part. He was clicking again. I can see that he was clicking again. Shout out to Chase Hendricks. And on defense, I'm going to mention 2 defensive players for the Bobcats. They did show up when they had to. Jalen Thomason and Tank Pearson, they had 7 and 6 total tackles each. They showed up when they had to, made good plays. I saw that they had a presence there. So shout out to them as well. Now I'm going to get to the bottom line. 8-4 finish. So now we have an 8-4 finish. We finished 8-4. So basically, here is that right before this season even started on Bobcat Corner, the original Bobcat Corner, I made the guess, the bold guess, prediction, whatever you want to call it, that we were going to finish 8-4. That's what I called. I called for an 8-4 finish, not exactly in this order, because I thought Buffalo was going to be a loss. I thought Western Michigan was going to be a win, but I was wrong about that. But we still finished 8-4. Good season overall by Ohio Bobcats standards, guys. Keep this in mind. By Ohio Bobcats standards, an 8-4 finish is pretty good. So you can't really complain about the finish here, 8-4, because many teams in college football right now would absolutely be thrilled to finish 8-4. It's just ask UMass. I'm just saying. But yeah, 8-4 finish, now plan ahead for the future. And this is putting aside the MAC championship game, and this is putting aside the bowl game that we're going to play in December sometime. We're putting that aside. You have to think about the long game here. You have to think about long term here after this season. The regular season is done. 8-4 finish. Okay. Not bad finish, pretty good. So what can you do to improve on this? This is what the Bobcats coaching staff and the new AD Slade Larscheid, this is what they all have to come together and think about doing. They have to plan ahead for the future. They have to get to the transfer portal. They have to utilize NIL. They have to be more aggressive in those areas because look all around you. Guys, look all around you in the atmosphere in the whole world of college football, college sports in general. More and more schools are getting more and more aggressive with NIL and the transfer portal. And if we're going to stay in this, if we're going to be in the long run here, if we're going to be in it to win it, the Ohio Bobcats, we have got to utilize the transfer portal and the NIL more efficiently and more aggressively. We've got to do that. Otherwise, we're not going to stand a chance. Otherwise, the positive momentum that we've been developing the last few years is going to go away at some point if we don't keep investing in the future. And I mean economically. So I brought it up in certain episodes of Bobcat Corner that you need money to compete. That's going to be a key thing here going into these next few years. So plan ahead for the future, guys. This is a shout out to the entire coaching staff of the Ohio Bobcats and the AD, Slade Larscheid and his office, his department. Plan ahead for the future. Really focus on the transfer portal, the NIL aspect of all this. Really go after players that are worth getting. I'm not saying 5-star players, but just get players that fit the mold of Ohio University. That's all I'm saying. So plan ahead for the future. And anyway, I'm not quite done yet with this edition of Bobcat Corner Live. I waited for this especially. Rant. I'm going to go on a little rant here, guys. Going to take me a few minutes to get this off my chest. Done talking about the game. Now I'm going to talk about this tiebreaker system, if you want to call it that. Guys, this has taken many of us, not just me, goes far beyond me. This is taking many of us so many weeks to break down this tiebreaker system that the MAC has had in place, which I understand that it was agreed to by everybody in the room, so to speak, by all the schools, by all the head officials, and of course the MAC officials themselves, that they had this tiebreaker system in place going into this year. And it's not much different than last year's system anyway. But here's the thing, as you're seeing it play out right now, as you're seeing it being implemented, what a mess. I'm being honest with you guys, what a mess and what a joke. And if any MAC official says anything here, if any MAC official sees this and, scratches his head and goes like, okay, why is he upset? Well, you should probably know why. Because when you run down through everything, when you list all the tiebreakers in your system and you don't put into account direct head-to-head victories over teams that you're tied with, regardless of whether or not everybody that's tied together, regardless of whether or not they played each other, the fact that you disregard the head-to-head result in that scenario when it's more than two teams, it's very egregious. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is bullcrap. And it's not just the fact that it involves Miami of Ohio, the Red Hawks. Put that obvious part aside. You could replace Miami of Ohio with Bowling Green or Kent State or, pick any other MAC team. It's the principle here. When you have three tied teams here, in this case, we're talking about Ohio, Toledo, and Miami of Ohio. They did not play each other. Not all of them did. Ohio and Toledo did not play each other. Okay. Ohio played Miami. Ohio beat Miami. Toledo played Miami. Toledo beat Miami. But because not all three teams played each other directly, that gets skipped in favor of combined win percentage over common opponents throughout the regular season. So I have this pulled up here. The MAC football championship tiebreaker. I'll probably put links to this down below after I get done here, just so you guys can reference this yourselves. But you see here, B scenario, 2 teams, that's more straightforward. Then you get down to C scenario, more than 2 teams. Combined head-to-head win percentage among the tied teams if all tied teams are common opponents. I'm sorry, that right there. If all the tied teams are not common opponents, the tied team that defeated each other opponents advances. Win percentage versus all common opponents. No. I'm sorry, but what I'm feeling right now when I'm reading through this is like MAC officials clearly overthought this. They overthought this entire system. What you're basically saying is that your direct win, your direct head-to-head win over another tie team in the event of a three-team tie, your direct win over that team does not matter. That's what you're basically being told. And yes, Miami did beat Western Michigan. I acknowledge that. But that should not be factoring into this. The direct tie teams are Miami, Ohio, Toledo. That's all you should be focusing on. And obviously, you're not doing that. I'm sorry, I'm calling for a change to the MAC tiebreaker system starting next year. It's too late to do anything about it this year. Okay, but this is bullcrap. This is garbage. And the only thing that can save the Ohio Bobcats right now, the only thing that can save the Ohio Bobcats right now when it comes to a scenario would be this. Central Michigan has got to beat Toledo because Toledo is in our way as well. And then Ball State, yes, that same Ball State team that beat us much earlier in the season, 2014. Ball State has to somehow, some way beat Miami of Ohio. Those are the two other things that need to happen for us to be saved, for us to get back to Detroit, Michigan, to play Western Michigan for the MAC championship this year. And if those two things don't happen, then we're not going back. Now it's simple. Now it is simple, but for weeks it wasn't that simple. I call into question some things related to the integrity of the game when it comes to this. If your direct head-to-head victory over a tie team does not matter in the event of three teams or more, then what are we doing? I'm kind of being compelled to ask this question, guys. What are we doing? Just playing the games. What was the point of playing Miami then? Other than it being the Battle of the Bricks, if it didn't matter. You know, I want to hear from Dr. John Steinbrecher, MAC commissioner. I want to hear from him. I want to hear from anybody in that office, from that department, that can explain it thoroughly to people, to MAC fans, to college football fans. What was their thought process in creating this MAC tiebreaker system? Because if you ask me, to be blunt, this is total bullcrap. This is garbage. This is hot garbage. And you need to seriously consider changing this tiebreaker system altogether, starting next year. I'm sorry, but you're basically telling me that I cannot I cannot acknowledge what we did to Miami of Ohio earlier this year, and then you turn around and say, "Oh, because because not all three of you played each other, then we have to cancel it out." Integrity of the game. Think about it. You can tell I'm upset about this because this is like let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to cool down now. Yeah, we did win. I'm glad we did it. We beat Buffalo. Good job there. 31-26, Ohio beat Buffalo. We had a good result. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below after this. Yeah, I have a lot more to say about MAC leadership right now in light of conference realignment, in light of the tiebreaker scenarios, in light of everything going on here. Maybe that's a hint of what's to come on this channel. But yeah, Ohio beat Buffalo 31-26. We finished the season 8-4. I'm happy about that. I am. We're going to have a bowl game sometime in December, so that's good. I'm going to be doing a Bobcat Corner live for that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I really do appreciate the support that I get. I'm thankful for you guys. The other day was Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I really do appreciate the support that I get. So this is Stephen Vitt reporting, and I'll be signing out. Have a good weekend.